Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles of GMS, the true teachers, elders, leaders of the nation of Israel on earth today. Okay, salutations to the Akim that are doing the work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, letting their bodies be a living sacrifice for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, teaching this truth in the face of all adversaries, all adversities. Coming into the gates of the nobles to declare the truth, that which has been, kept out of the world. And we're hated for that reason. Okay, this is your brother Malcolm from Chicago GMS camp. Not sure what I'm going to title this yet. This is like Zero Dark 100. And it's been on my spirit heavy to do this particular reading for quite some time, but a lot of other things came up which kept me from it, but now through the spirit it's about to happen now. So this is a reading from the book The Wisdom of Solomon, all right, from the Apocrypha. This is chapter 2, starting at verse 7. Okay, and I'm going to read down to the end, and I'm going to read, and I'll probably stop every scripture and bring out precepts to break down what the scripture is talking about. All right. But this is Wisdom of Solomon, verse 7. It said, "Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass us by. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered." All right. So crowning yourself with a rosebud before it withers mean that you have destroyed a flower. You've plucked up and picked a flower, which is symbolizing destruction of the earth. All right, because that's what Esau does, man. Why? Because Esau is the wicked, and the earth was given into his hand. And Esau, one of the main things that Esau did when he got dominion over the earth, is he's covered up who he was. He's hid his nationality and and basically he's been the biggest identity thief. Something that he will actually lock you up in his prisons in America for. He will lock you up in the prisons in America, in different places of the world. But he is the biggest identity thief, because Esau is running around calling himself Jews and Jewish and white, and they call themselves Greeks and Americans and everything that I just mentioned. There were other people who were those people. And he is not. But this is Job 9:24. "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" All right. So there's a people who covered up the faces of the judges. The judges of the earth are the Israelites. So that means that the Israelites' faces got covered up. This is Daniel 4. And 17. "This is the matter by the decree of the watchers, and demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set up over it the basis of men." So the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, which is the basis, the lowest of men. They're the lowest. Let me turn this light up. It's locked here. There we go. They're the lowest of men. A little lighter. There we go. Slack y'all. Okay? Back into the Wisdom of Solomon. Verse 9. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is the portion of our lot. All right, so, and they did leave tokens of every place. Iconoclasm, man. Meaning the destruction of the icons, or the hiding of the icons that prove who's what people. You know, they like I said, they are the biggest identity thieves the earth has ever seen, and they're quite angry at the fact that the Israelites are on the streets and the highways and the byways of the world, revealing the history of who they are. Now, questions are being asked that was never asked before. All right, this is Revelation 18:7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. But they will see sorrow, man. All right? The nation of Edom will see sorrow. And that's particularly talking about Babylon here in America. All right? Verse 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let's go to Jeremiah. All right, because Esau has oppressed all people on the earth, but the most important people that he oppressed was the Israelites. He oppressed and stole their history. This is Jeremiah, the infamous scripture. All right. This is Jeremiah 50:33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel, which is Benjamin, Judah, and Levi, and the children of Salakiah, which is the children of the northern kingdom, and the children of Judah, which is Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. So so when Christopher Columbus sailed, Cristobal Colon, all right, because the biggest profiteers from the transatlantic slave trades was the Jewish, the Ashkenazi Jews, man. That's a fact. It doesn't take much research to figure that out. The good ship Jesus, which was one of the first slave ships that sailed, was owned by a Spanish Jew. Just as Cristobal Colon was. Cristobal Colon, also known as Christopher Columbus, which they'll be celebrating that day soon. He was a converso. He was one of those converso Jews, man. Verse 11. Let our strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. And that's what it is. Justice is not justice with them. Let their strength was a sword, man. All right? Matter of fact, let's get Revelation 18:4. Because if they could outgun you, then they were the law. It wasn't about what was right or wrong. They came over, they put a gun, shot you down, killed you, murdered you, blasted you with cannons, then set up their own laws. Rape, robbed, and murdered. Took all the land, then set up their own laws. Simple as that. And then say that we're right. All right? And then try to justify what's righteous and what's not after you just stole whole continents, man. And then get mad when somebody brings it out and points it out. And that's history. Okay? This is Revelation 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Salakia. It's Revelation 6:4, I believe. Didn't mean to say 18:4. Right, and there went out of her there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Esau's blessing was a sword. By the sword thou shalt live, man. So when you live by a sword, that means you're raping and pillaging, conquering and murdering, man. And the Lord set him up to be the hammer of the earth, man. But now that hammer is being broken, man. Okay? And when you are a hammer, every problem, every situation is like a nail to you. And that's what Esau does today. Send their military in and bomb and destroy every damn thing. This is destroy cultures and families and lives, man. And bring democracy, which destroys homes, causes divorce. LBGT, lesbianism rises up, And that's one of the reasons why these nations are fighting against Esau so hard over in the Mideast, man. Because they want to control over their families, their daughters, This is Genesis 27:40. And by thy sword thou shalt thou live. And Salakia. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from thy neck. And that's true, because they did serve under King David, all right, under the Israelites. Okay? We took spoils and concubines, but they attacked us first. Okay? But then when they got the dominion, that is now. Okay, now they got the dominion, and while they had the dominion, they stole our birthright. I mean, well, they didn't steal our birthright, but they stole our nationality. They're claiming to be us, and now it's to the point now where the world is waking up to the fact that they're not, that they are converts and they're not the Israelites. And that is what makes them so angry, and that is what makes this truth so dangerous, because that could upset world powers, man. Because the world powers and government has been set up. World powers and governments have been set up based upon the falsehood that the Jewish people in Israel are the people of the Bible. Christianity has been set up that Caucasians are the Lord's chosen people, and they are not. And that's a problem. And that's what this is all about. And when you bring out truth to them equals hate. Simple as that, man. As long as they're committing hate, because it's a very hateful act to call someone an African American when you know they're Israelite. It's a very hateful act when you call someone a Puerto Rican or a Dominican when you know that they're Israelites. A Mexican when you know that they're Israelite, when you know they're from the holy tribe of Issachar. And you also are sitting on the records that prove it. And then you poke fun of or try to demonize people that bring that truth and those facts out. Esau truly is the devil, man. Okay? Verse 12. Therefore let us wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. And he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us in our offending of the law. He objected to our infamy and transgressions of our education, and we do. We object to your lies, man. We object to your false religion, to your Christmas, to your lesbianism, your homosexuality, your false images of Cesare Borgia, saying that the Lord is and the people of the earth and the people of the Bible were a pale-complected people, were so-called white people. We object to that, because that is a lie. That is a lie. And you push that lie. Okay? Right. Verse 13. He professeth to have the knowledge of Yahweh, and he calleth himself the child of Yahweh. And we do. And now it's a problem all over again. This is Rome all over again. And in Rome, a ruckus was beginning to start, because the Israelites were waking up to the fact that they were Israelites through Paul and through the disciples. All right? Meaning that the ones that knew that they were Israelites, that were following the 12, they were breaking away from the Pharisees who were in league with the powers that be, with the Edomite, the so-called white man, the Idumeans, the Edomites who were in power then, who were the Romans, who were the seed of Alexander, who were Edomites. Okay? The Israelites in charge were in a league with them for money and profit. And then you had the Israelites who were following the Lord, were doing it, for their salvation and for the love of their people. All right? The same as we're doing, the men of GMS. All right? all those other Israelite sects will be equal to those same Pharisees. They're in league, especially ones who have 501c3 charters where they have contracts with the government to teach a certain doctrine and not to teach, and mainly not to teach the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because that's the power of the Israelites. And the Bible explains you that. You have to use the name. If you don't understand that, then you don't understand the Bible, because that's in the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. All right, you have to use the name and know the name. All right, there is salvation under any other name, and anyone who has any understanding would know that Jehovah and Jesus Christ are titles, incorrect names, acceptable titles when you translate it to English, because that's what it says in English, but you have to actually, proper vowels do not translate. That goes to show you who that Esau is the devil as well, because he did it that way. All right. He didn't he translated proper vowels into other names, and proper vowels don't translate. All you gotta do is watch foreign news and listen to the news, and when they say an American name, they don't translate the name to their language. They say the name in the proper in the way it's supposed to be said. Okay. Let's get Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Now that I said that, it says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him, and have made no account for his labors." All right, and that's what we do, and we're called a hate group or other things for doing that, because we're standing in their face, reminding them of the truth, bringing the truth out, bringing the history out. All right, I watched a video where I heard an Edomite say all the problems that lie in Palestine and in the world are on the fact that the dark Shemite, the Shemitic people, he didn't say Semitic. Semite without the H that's another one of those buzzwords to help hide the nationality of the real people, and also to help hide the nationality of who the Edomites really are. But he said it, and it was true when he said it. He said that therein lies the problem of the world. If the world knew who the real Shemitic people were, and who the real Shemitic people of the Bible were, that would make a lot of racism go away, because people would be faced with the truth. All right, and these so-called white supremacy groups, you're red, man. There's no such thing as white people. Okay, there's no such thing as white. You're shades of brown or you're shades of red, man. As simple as that. All right. Where am I? Oh, I'm back into Wisdom of Solomon, 5th chapter. Sorry. Slakia. "When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of the spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, a proverb and a reproach." All right, calling us by other names, man. Names like nigger and spick, coon and savage, red man. The real red man is a so-called white man. All right? Hence the term, as a matter of fact, the term white and black came about in the 17th century by Johann Blumenbach. All right? And that was just the final nail in the coffin of hiding their nationality. Hey, but the 1925 Jewish Encyclopedia or Jewish Almanac clearly states that modern day Jewry is Edom, man, and many other Jewish encyclopedias and books. All right, that's the 1924 Jewish Encyclopedia, page 41. As a matter of fact, and then the one in 1905 pretty much says the same thing. Okay, so this is information that comes out of your very own books, your very own sources, man, because Esau's proud. Back into Wisdom Solomon 2. We'll stop right here. It says, I'm going to read down to 16. "And he was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us, even to behold." All right, because they hate us so much. "For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed to him as counterfeits. He established from our ways, from the filthiness he pronounced the end of the just to be blessed, and make of his boast that Yahweh is his father. So, and we do. We boast of that. We're not claiming it. We're boasting it because we are the sons of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. We're the sons of the Lord, man. Not you Edomites, man. All right? And look, brothers, you really need to exercise using the word Edomite. All right? Refer to them as so-called white people, because they're not white. Okay? Try to refrain from calling them crackers and all that stuff like that. That's really not edifying. It really isn't. You know? What you want to do is you convict them with the truth, man. Besides, calling them any other thing outside of the so-called white man, all right, is when you use white, you should say so-called and refer to them as Edomite, real talk. Because it's that verbiage when you call them something else, when you screaming out cracker and all this other, because you know brothers get angry, you being the spirit. But that's how they're able to say, well, it's hate and it's all this, and then it takes away from the message. Real talk. It takes away from the message, man. Convict them with the words of this Bible and convict them with truth, Akim. All right? We need to really practice referring to them as Edomites and referring to them as the so-called white man. You know, you could throw a devil in there and, you know, a piece of shit every now and then, because that's truth. All right? Because it's true. But we must speak the absolute truth. All right? That's how we convict them. Because it's so easy for them to use sound bites of other verbiage being used, and then it takes away from the whole message, man. Let's take away their excuses and their abilities to fight, man. All right? It says, oh yeah, we count them as counterfeit. So yeah, it's true. So let's read a couple scriptures to prove that. This is Revelation 2:9. They are counterfeits. Okay? Because you got to remember, those Herodian Edomites, those Idumean Edomites in the ancient world was calling themselves Jews, Jewish. You remember in the conversion, there was a big conversion that took place. All right, a couple times. All right, one of them under John Hyrcanus, who was one of the Levites, one of the sons of the Maccabees, man. All right. Why? Because they were trying to make leagues with them. All right. This is Revelation 2:9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And that's in parentheses, because what's in parentheses is not really there. So we're not rich in substance. We're rich in the spirit, man. Okay, because of who we are and what we have coming to us. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, chief house of Satan. And the chief house of Satan is Amalek, and that's the main enemy of the nation of Israel. All right, the Edomites, and Amalek is the head family of the race of Edom, man. Okay, let's go to the book of Esther. Where's Esther? I was turning to Ruth when I'm trying to find Esther. I believe it's Esther 8:17. Yep. And in every province, Esther 8:17. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness and a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Because they became Jewish, because and they started following and complying with the ways of the Lord so that they wouldn't be destroyed, man. There are plenty of accounts of that, where people were afraid of being destroyed by the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. All right, you gotta remember the two scouts that Joshua sent. You know, the whole story of when they went to go smash one of those cities, one of those Hamite cities, man. I think her name was Rahab, the harlot. You know, her whole household got saved, got spared, man. Okay, and I'm pretty sure when they got spared, they were absorbed. You know. But let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon. Oh yeah, Lamentations 5 and 2. Scripture I bring out almost every week, man. Hard to get around it. This is, you know, in the our inheritance, Lamentations 5 and 2. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, and our houses to aliens. So the inheritance is the land of Israel. So the Bible's telling you in a future prophecy that the land of Israel will be full of aliens and strangers. That someone else will be claiming the heritage of the Israelites. And when you look that word up, heritage, in the Winston Simplified Dictionary Bible, 1933, Encyclopedic Edition, heritage, it says, the number 2 definition says the chosen people of God, Israel. All right? And it said right here that their heritage would be turned to a stranger, man. Okay? So that's part 1 of this video. I haven't figured out the name yet. But with that, I hope that, you know, brothers and you few righteous sisters that watch were edified, the elect. And to the rest of you, you know, you don't matter. All praise and glory be unto Yahweh Bashem Shai. Shalom.